District 289. We're glad you're here with us today. We've got some important information and hopefully can answer any questions for you today. I want to start out by letting you know that relative to lunches, we've had a number of lunches not picked up. So if there are 2 days in a row where lunches are not picked up, we are taking you off that list and you will have to call back in to order those lunches again. We're ready to go and able to provide those to you, but we really need you to come on the days that you have stated that you're going to. Also, relative to lunches, we're going to make a change, not this week, starting next week, we will be delivering lunches at the same satellite drop-off spots that we have been, and it's the same process Monday through Thursday. However, on Thursday, you will also receive Friday's lunch and breakfast. So what we're doing essentially is we're eliminating 1 day during the week that we're not going to deliver the lunches. We will provide them on Thursday, but we're not going to deliver them on Friday. We'll try and get a more detailed email out to everyone with that information. So we appreciate your help with that. Also, I want to speak a little bit about how we're going to work the schedule relative to e-learning. Beginning next week, as you know, next week on Friday is Good Friday, which is a holiday. So we are not in attendance on that day. Teachers and students will not be in attendance on Friday the 10th, Good Friday. For the weeks that are following that, however, instruction will take place by teachers Monday through Thursday during the week. Fridays will be utilized for teacher planning, for remote learning, for teacher planning for remote learning. They'll be utilized for professional development for teachers, and all students will be expected to work on their makeup work, anything they need to catch up on, or any enrichment activities. Let me go through that one more time. Next week on Friday is Good Friday, so there is no school, no attendance that day for anyone. In the weeks that follow, we will be providing teacher instruction on Monday through Thursday, as we were this week, and on Fridays, students will be expected to work on makeup work or anything they need to catch up on or enrichment activities, while teachers will be doing remote planning days on those days. So we'll get that information out to you in an email as well, and I'm happy to turn it over right now to all of our principals for any questions you might have. Have a great day.
Okay, good morning, District 289 families. First of all, I just want to take a minute and thank everyone for their support, including teachers and non-certified staff, parents, students, community members for the support, the questions, and the feedback this week that we've gotten as we've kicked off remote learning. I want to acknowledge that I know this is hard for parents and caregivers to take on this responsibility at home. And we want you to know that we are here to continue to guide and support you along all the way. We understand that you didn't sign up to be teachers, and our teachers never signed up to teach from a computer also. So this is very challenging and something new for all of us that we just have to work together to make it the best we can for our students. So I just, again, continue to ask that we can all work together and communicate to do the best that we can. It's okay to ask questions. I think we've all had lots of questions this week through emails or phone calls. More than happy to answer any of your questions, so please don't hesitate to reach out to us. So what we're going to do today is a little bit different, and we're each going to take a few minutes to go through by building and by grade level what our students should be doing, what the expectations are for each grade level, and the work that they should be completing at home. So we're going to start with Blackstone, and we're going to start with our kindergarten and first grade students. We are going to have 3 daily requirements. We are following state guidelines and are making local decisions based on that for our students and our staff based off of these guidelines. The Illinois State Board of Education has provided guidance on the amount of time that students in each grade level should be participating in remote learning at home. And for the kindergarten and first grade level, they're acknowledging that 30 to 45 minutes should be a minimum of instruction each day, and the maximum amount of time should be 90 minutes of remote learning at home each day. We are not advocating for our kindergartners and first graders to be doing the full 90 minutes, the maximum amount. We're going to be right in the middle, and I'm going to go through that here with you in just a second. So we have established these 3 requirements, and we're going to provide you with guidance on the time for each of those as well. The last thing we want are any of our students, especially our little ones, sitting at a table or a desk for hours and hours doing homework. That's not how school works for us when we are at Blackstone. We do instruction, we might do a worksheet, and then we're up and moving and doing something. So it's not just, don't make your kids just sit and do these things at the table at home. Give them breaks. You have the whole day to complete things. You don't have to do it by a certain time during the day. Maybe you can do a couple things in the morning, a couple in the afternoon, and maybe a couple in early evening. Just spread it out, whatever works for you and your family. And for those parents that are still working, I totally respect that, and that's why your schedule might look a little bit different than everyone else's. It does at our house too. Okay, so the first requirement is that students will have to check into their Google Classroom and answer the question of the day. We started that this week, and I'm so impressed and incredibly proud of all the parents and students that did this on day 1 on Monday. We did not have very many at all that did not do this, and some that did not have computer access, and they now have that in their hands since then because they've contacted Northbrook. The interaction of the teacher's question of the day is great to get feedback from families. It's fun for kids. Teachers are responding to their answers, and it's just a way to get them on and get them comfortable. So that will continue to be required. From that, teachers are taking attendance and marking that in the grade book for them to be present. So you have until 11:59 that night to mark your child and answer that question of the day, so we can mark your child present. The next morning, first thing next morning, teachers are updating their attendance roster and finalizing it for the day before's attendance. So if you're having any trouble getting in, I know I emailed parents a document on how to log in, and it has pictures step by step. Most of you are in. There's just a few left that have not gotten in, and again, it is easy to put the Google Classroom app on your phone. I prefer that on my phone over the computer for the attendance piece of it. It's pretty easy to do, but if you need help, please reach out and ask. But again, that is required every day. The second requirement for Blackstone students will be to complete pages out of their paper packets. They had paper packets that were sent home March 16th before we left school, and then Blackstone parents were asked to pick up packets again this week on Monday and Tuesday. Again, I'm so incredibly blessed and thankful that so many parents took the time to come through and pick this up. I felt we had a great process set up at Blackstone, and the turnout was phenomenal. It was much more than I expected. We only have a couple packets left at Blackstone as of this morning that need to get out. So thank you, parents, for doing that. It was wonderful to see parents, and it was wonderful to see kids in the back seat waving from a very safe length away. But it was good to see their smiles, so that went well. Both of the kindergarten and first grade packets are set up to have students complete 5 pages per day, okay? So the packet looks something like this, and I just want to point out that at the bottom of each page, right down here in the corner, I know we're far away, but you can see where I'm pointing at on the paper. This one says week 1, day 1. Each page has that listed at the bottom. The next page says week 1, day 1, week 1, day 1, and there's 5 of those before it goes to week 1, day 2. Some parents have asked a very good question of, if we got our packet late or we missed a day, do we have to catch up to that exact date? No, you don't. What we would like you to do is just to keep working through the packet, no matter where you're at, and do those 5 pages in a day. It doesn't have to be, you know, if it's a Friday today, so it'd be day 5, but you've missed a couple days, you might be on day 3 that week. and that's okay. Just keep working through the next 5 pages each day is what we're asking you to do. Let's see what else I want to talk about them. I would suggest, we talked as a staff yesterday. We continue to have meetings and talk about these things, and we're getting feedback from parents. And we're estimating and hearing that it's taking approximately 30 minutes to complete those 5 pages in the packet. Again, those 30 minutes do not have to be all at once. Maybe you break it into 3 10-minute sections where they do something, work on them for 10 minutes, and they go take a break. And they come back and do 10 more minutes and take a break. Please know, you don't have to do it all at once. This is not how we run school, and when students are in our classrooms, it's perfectly fine to break it up. If it's taking your child much longer to complete these daily pages, please let your child's teacher know, and she will provide you with guidance on what to do. A lot of times parents need to give the students directions, and then the parents are able, or the students are able to complete these tasks on their own. These are review activities, so it is curriculum that they've been exposed to, and many of the things are things they could do independently as well. Just remember, we do not want students sitting at the table doing packets for a very long time at all. Break it up into smaller sections. So that was the second requirement. The third requirement for Blackstone is going to be starting on Monday. We will be introducing MobyMax. MobyMax is an online program that you will need to access through your computer or a Chromebook that you were able to pick up at Blackstone. When you picked up your packet of new materials on Tuesday or Wednesday, inside that packet was information on MobyMax and how to log in, and also there was your child's link and their password to get into their child's page, into their teacher's page. Please don't go to mobymax.com. You have to use that sheet that was in the packet because it's a very specific URL for your child to get to their teacher.
Repeat that part.
Again, don't go to mobymax.com. You have to go to the link. I even highlighted them for you in the packet. You have to go to that exact link to get to that teacher's page, okay? I can see that some parents have already been in there looking around, and that's fine. But what we like about MobyMax too is that your child will do work at their own instructional level. So this will be good for our students. For this next week, we're going to be requiring our students to take 2 placement tests. Our students will be taking the math and the reading foundational skills placement test. So math and skills foundation, or reading foundational skills placement tests. Each of these placement tests are going to take about 30 minutes each. Again, please break that down. Maybe Monday you do 15 minutes of the reading placement test and you stop. Tuesday, come back and finish the 15 minutes of the reading placement test and you should be done. The great thing is if you stop in the middle of a placement test, the next time you go back to it, you can pick up where you left off. I would suggest that maybe Wednesday, do the math. 15 minutes of math on MobyMax. Thursday, the following 15 minutes to finish up the placement test. And that's all that's required next week on MobyMax, just those placement tests. If you have time and you want to go in and play around and look at some of the programs that are there, that is perfectly fine. Here's what I cannot stress enough about MobyMax. These placement tests are a bit challenging, and that's okay. But please do not help your child with the placement test. Your child may say, this is hard, I don't know this one. Encourage them to do their best and make a guess if they have to make a guess. But here's what's going to happen if you help them as a parent to get the right answers. We're giving this test to find their instructional level. So if mom or dad are helping their first grader take this placement test and you're walking them through and talking to them how to get the answers, that test is going to keep going and giving harder and harder questions because it's reading that your child has a higher academic level. So if you do that and you finish the placement test, you could have placed your child at a 4th or 5th grade reading level, when in reality they're at a kindergarten level or a first grade level. We can't go back and change that. So if you help your child and they're placed at a higher grade level, every time your child logs on every day to MobyMax, you're going to be having your child doing 3rd or 4th grade work, whether if you've helped them to get to that level. So please don't help them. You can help give them directions, show them where they're supposed to be. I can't stress this enough. Don't help them, because if you get at a higher level, the student's not going to be able to independently complete these MobyMax activities, and they're going to get very frustrated, as will you.
There's a question about where do you find the placement test?
Okay, so when you log into MobyMax, you will see there are a bunch of different boxes, and you can click on those. You're going to click on the one that says math and the one that says foundational reading. And then it'll automatically take you to the placement test. All of those icons on there do not require you to take a placement test. Okay, so some of them that are on there just for letter name and letter sound practice, you don't have to take a test. But by doing the placement test, we're able to reach the range, the instructional levels of all of our kids, so it's going to automatically provide your student exactly what they need and where their level is at. Teachers will be sending out information as well on Monday with this, and if you have any questions as you start it, please reach out and ask your teachers, or reach myself as well. After we go through the placement test, we're looking at the following week of giving this a try, and for the 4 days that we would be in attendance, as Dr. School said, we wouldn't be in attendance on Friday. We would be asking students to do the attendance question of the day, the paper packets, and then 10 minutes in reading in MobyMax and 10 minutes in math. Students will get to choose what areas they'd like to participate in the reading and math activities. We're going to try that, let them get a little bit familiar with the different activities in there. So there will be some choices. So again, to recap the requirements for Blackstone, the daily attendance question of the day in Google Classroom should not take more than 5 minutes. Your 5 pages in the packet each day should not take more than 30 minutes. If there's a problem with that with your child, please reach out to your child's teacher. And then we're looking at 20 minutes in MobyMax, 10 minutes in reading, and 10 minutes in math. That's a total of about 55 minutes. So that's far away from the 90-minute maximum requirement by the state, and just a little bit more than the 45-minute of the minimum, okay? Please know those are the 3 things that are required. There are many other things out there if you're looking for activities for your children. If you look at PE, Mrs. Gallagher, Mrs. Brewer, and Mrs. Kleckner, Mrs. Kiefer, they're having their pages too. We had a talk this morning. They're going to set their pages up a little bit differently so it's easier for parents. And there's some great extension activities and fun things for kids to do around the house as well. So I encourage you to check into those things as well. As far as the curriculum and our students with special education services, those teachers will be reaching out and have been reaching out, and will keep in contact with you with your child's assignments and what they can do to help support you at home as well. I think that's it for Blackstone right now. That was a lot.
I was gonna say, kindergarten first. Nice job, teachers.
Please, if you have any questions though, please ask your teachers. Please reach out to me. We are here to help you.
Yes, and I'll go over our requirements for Lincoln School. First and foremost, thanks to the parents for working with the teachers, asking them great questions. You've called me, you've emailed me with many great questions, and it's been a pleasure to help and serve you all in this situation. So don't hesitate to call the school, email me. You can email Mrs. Knaff, the Lincoln School Secretary, or your teacher. But I would say first and foremost, try the emailing route, because we are not always at school to get your message, and it might sit a day or two before we get your message and be able to get back to you. So your quickest way of contacting us would be email. But our requirements for e-learning is our teachers really want to focus on the packets that were given out. Just like what Mrs. Kelly said about Blackstone, only do, a little bit each day. For a second grader at the most, it should be an hour a day, and it doesn't have to be an hour all at once. 45 minutes to an hour is great. Break it up throughout the day. Like Blackstone, we're not sitting in our desks for an hour listening to the teacher talk or doing worksheets. We're maybe sitting around listening to the lecture or reading the story for 15-20 minutes, and then we're up moving around doing an activity that strengthens what they just learned. So I encourage you, our families, to try to do that as well. And I think by keeping a little bit of learning a little bit, then having some movement or some brain breaks, it's not going to make our children kind of get tired and burned out and hate the packet or not want to do the work. So focus on doing the packets. And then MobyMax, a lot of the teachers had already sent out information through Google Classroom or email on MobyMax, and I've seen and heard a lot of the students are already on doing activities and lessons through there, and that's awesome. Again, go do that assessment at the beginning so it can place them in their proper grade level or where they are instructionally, and then have them work at their pleasure, at their leisure. I've heard some students are really liking MobyMax, and I know one student has already logged in over 4 hours because he really likes it, and that's awesome. But just don't overload the students. If they don't get to MobyMax on one day, that's fine. Right now, our focus is the packet, and then once the packet's done, then they can do maybe some more of that MobyMax learning, or both in conjunction. But that's if they wish and they can handle it. 3rd and 4th graders, I would even say still go with the anywhere between an hour and 90 minutes through the day of engagement time. Again, not all at once. Continue the 20 minutes, 30 minutes of learning, then go take a break and come back. You have all day, so it's just a matter of trying to schedule what works best for the student around the schedule that you guys have around your houses, because we do understand that many of parents are working from home, and I know for at least my house that's a struggle too, and working from home and keeping my own kids focused on doing their work. And then Friday, it's our fun time, catch up on anything that you may have missed, do something fun at home, some family time, play some games, get some physical activity in, and kind of just enjoy the day too. We have a question here. Lincoln, check in for attendance. Yes, I forgot about that. Thank the great reminder. Please answer your Google Classroom question at the beginning of the day. The teachers have that up there by 8 o'clock in the morning. However, I know this week I've got a lot of phone calls and emails, and so is the teacher. Let's just say the internet is being fussy for whatever reason, or the Chromebook doesn't want to connect, or you're having issues. Don't worry at all. You can always pick up the phone and call the school and leave a message. And like I said, even though we may not get the message for a day or two, if you give us the date, then give us, say, we're having issues at home, but we're still learning, we'll make sure to mark your student as present for that day. Or answer the question later on in the day, or we'll work with you. Reach out to the teacher if you can. If you A lot of the teachers are using Remind and Seesaw. If you can, or text, if you can get through them that way, please do so. But the attendance part, hi mailman.
I'm sorry, I gotta.
Come on in. If don't worry about the attendance, just keep the kids learning, and then when the technology gets up and working again, that was fun, wasn't it? Contact the teacher or us, and we'll worry about the attendance and take care of it. That's the least of our concerns. Just keep them learning. And we also were asked to let you know that our special ed case managers for those students with IEPs, they will be checking in with teachers or students periodically throughout this closure in the way that they have, whether through email or Zoom or whatever. And about Zoom, I know my teachers have been scheduling Zoom meetings with the class. Some do it once a week. I know some are doing it twice a week, maybe one day in the morning and then another one on another day in the afternoon. If you can, those are wonderful opportunities for the class to come together and have fun and talk about what they're all doing at home, get to see their teacher. Again, those are not expected, but if you can join one of those meetings, then I would really highly recommend it, just for the social aspect of it, and again, just to share what they're doing and say hi to everybody, because we all miss you guys, and the kids miss each other and miss us, and we want to continue that home and school connection. And I think the last thing, two more things, packets. Parents were wonderful on picking up packets. We have a few more to still send home, and if you are available, they're out there now, and they're going to be out there all weekend. Outside door 1 in the main office, there's a waterproof bin that has the packets in, and it's separated by class. At your convenience, you can go to the school, and it's, like I said, it's right by the door. Go get your child's packet, and you can take it home and start working. And then sometime next week, if I'll be in to see, who still needs help getting that packet home, and we can make those arrangements. And the last question I have here is about the original packets that we sent out, and the students were told to do the packet for the first 2 weeks and then take the spring break off. That's not going to affect your grade, the kids' grades at all. If you took a spring break off, that's wonderful. But just pick up on that first packet and complete it, and then when you're done with that packet, start working on the second packet that we passed out over the last 2 days. And don't rush to finish the packet. Just pick up where you left off and do those 20-minute chunks, and keep your kids engaged and keep them excited for learning as best as we can in this time.
Yep.
But thank you for everything, and we'll be reaching out, linking through emails and stuff.
Okay, so while we're talking about packets, a couple questions have come in, and one of the questions, I believe, was if there's something in the packet that the child is not familiar with how to do, or if it's new, what should we do? My recommendation would be to do the best that you can to help explain it to your child, and if it's really something that's challenging or a skill that you're not familiar with, please reach out to your child's teacher, and they can give you some pointers on how to help them do that. And the other question was about when will we return packets? And we did have some parents that brought them when they picked up their second set, and that is fine. We are talking about a potential turn-in after this next set, and again, just kind of waiting to see if we are coming back May 1st. But I've told parents, as a packet gets completed, stick it back in their book bag, and also this is a great time to be washing book bags while you're home.
Yeah.
And coats.
True.
But stick it in the backpack so you know where it's at. And if we would have to have another pickup, we would give you information as far as if we want you to drop them off at that time as well. So yeah, just put them in a safe place, please.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about Northbrook, but I'm gonna do some overall general messages as well. We have some Chromebooks available. If you need a Chromebook, if you need technology, and remember, this is for people who have absolutely no technology or a device at home to use, you can call Northbrook's office at 815-539-6237. You can leave a message and we will get to it pretty quickly. We create a chart. And we put your name on the chart and your phone number, and then we will call you to set up a pickup time. You have to leave your student's name, their grade, parent name, and a telephone number we can reach you. Those are the 4 requirements that we need. Student's name, student's grade, parent name, and a telephone number we can reach you at. And then we will get back to you, generally within 24 hours, we are calling you back. Huge shout out to all of our secretaries who are holding down forts for us when we've actually sent them all home and they keep coming in to help the principals out. We can't say thank you enough to them for knowing that maybe we might all be a little overwhelmed as well. And they've sensed that and come in to help us out. They're doing an amazing job.
And our IT guys for
And so we also want to thank Jason and Justin March, because they are a text message away helping every single employee in the building, from Missy Kroll in the lunchroom to keeping up with her charts to all of us. They've been amazing as well. And they're here morning, noon, and night to get things organized for us to get it out. And to the most essential people, the lunch crew, who are making those lunches and getting them on the buses to the volunteers to get them out to the kids. Those numbers are growing exponentially as well the longer we go into this, so keep that in mind with the lunches. Okay, so for Northbrook, all special ed case managers will be getting a hold of your kids via email, phone call. Be looking for that. Even if they're in both classes, regular ed, general ed, those case managers will be getting hold of you and your student to help you out. I'm going to go through this by grade level, but the first and the most important thing that I want you to know is that the teachers want to help you, and they are just an email or a phone call away. Every single one of them. I'm in contact via Zoom meetings, which we do our team meetings. We're still all meeting. Texting and phone calls and emails to the teachers. Every single one of them are there and available for you. Somebody put on here, are we doing Zoom meetings all the time? All of the grade levels are doing a little bit something different and have set times for their meetings. And some have chosen to use Google Meets because it's a little bit more accessible for the kids versus Zoom. So your teachers will talk to you about that. So 5th grade parents. Each of the teachers in 5th grade are doing something a little bit differently. They will all be logging onto MobyMax and be taking the placement test. If they haven't already, they will be next week. Most importantly is that they check into each 5th grade classroom, the Google Classroom, and answer their question of the day, because that is how they are taking attendance. They are engaged with the kids, they are working with the kids and giving them activities and things to do. So the Google Classroom is the most important place to start, because that will direct them toward MobyMax and where they're supposed to go next. So that is 5th grade. For 6th grade, all students are utilizing MobyMax 100% for every subject. The entire grade level is using it for social studies, science, reading, writing, and math. Each teacher has a 20-minute requirement per day. That is a total of 1 hour and 40 minutes required on Moby Max. There are interactive games. There are lessons they can push out. The kids have been really good about exploring on it and using it. This will also count as their attendance. That is how we will keep attendance for the kids. So they are not requiring more than 1 hour and 40 minutes per day. So nobody should be sitting at their computer for hours and hours and hours on end. If they require a test or a worksheet or an assignment, that student should not be spending more than 30 minutes per class period doing that. That's when you say, nope, enough. We're gonna go outside, we're gonna play a board game, we're gonna do something different. We do not want the kids overwhelmed by this. 7th grade. This week, Monday through Friday was catch up for 3rd quarter, so we could get 3rd quarter grades in. They engaged with the kids, they gave them things to do, but mostly we were looking for a lot of that work to turn in. A lot of the kids came and dropped their packets off, and we've got those already zipped off to the teachers for grades. Math and reading will be using Moby Max, and so will social studies, and so will science and language arts. So you should have gotten started on that through their Google Classroom. They gave the directions. Mr. Sheppers is the one who wants you to check into that Google Classroom, and he's going to be working on you guys with some Constitution things that he just wants to engage you with. The teachers are expecting between 20 and 30 minutes per day each class. That's it. So that is not a lot. And they still have their Google Classrooms up and running though too, because they want to talk to you and see how you're doing and just check in with you overall. 8th grade. Each teacher is using Google Classroom. Math and reading will be giving you the Moby Max assessments. Math will be using Moby Max full time. Reading, you guys are 8th graders. It's the greatest time of the year for you. I know it doesn't feel like it right now, but I'm telling you, you get Mrs. Shaw and you're gonna read The Outsiders with her. It's a fabulous annual tradition here at Northbrook, and we're not stopping it because of a virus. So go into the 8th grade Google Classrooms and they will guide you. I'm going to tell you that 7th and 8th graders, you are knocking it out of the park, checking in and getting your work done. You are in that routine and that groove, and the expectation is that you keep and continue doing that. We're really proud of how much you're engaged with the teachers. 8th grade, we are like almost at 100% every day. It's pretty amazing. Really proud of you. If you had PE, which all of you do, band, art, or taking technology, which all of you do, those teachers also have Google Classrooms and you have to check into those. The PE, really look at the activities they're giving you. Keep your body busy. It's not about your brain. Middle schoolers, keep your body busy. It's so important during this time. Mrs. Gatza and Mrs. Clark have their Google Classroom. It's getting busier and busier, I'm seeing. They're going to be checking in with a lot of kids. They're going to help me out with attendance next week. We might set up a Google Meets or a Zoom meeting for whoever wants to attend with Mrs. Gatza and Mrs. Clark next week. Parents, remember, we are all new at this. Even Moby Max, we've assigned some things on it, but we are very new at it. And we're exploring it while we're doing it. And so any question you have is a great question and a valid question, and it helps us better understand what we're doing and where we are at. But we need to know that you have those questions. That becomes super important for us. So send the questions to myself, call the school, and leave a message. But those teachers, I know the kids aren't seeing them every single day, but I'm going to tell you they're there and they're waiting and they want to talk to the kids and they want to help you, and they want to answer questions. So it's really important that we keep that school connection alive. I have students who are emailing me in the morning almost every day and saying, hi, how are you? And then I just email them back, I'm so good, how are you? It's that simple. We're keeping that connection alive. Just because we can't see each other every day, it's so important that you email the teacher and check in, even as a parent, and say, this isn't going so well. They will be happy to help you and assist you. That's what we are all here for. We are super overwhelmed because we miss everybody so much, and we miss our routine, and we miss seeing the kids every day. And I've been able at Northbrook to see some of the kids and families when they come to pick up the Chromebooks. And I gotta tell you what, to see 7th and 8th grade boys say, I miss school, it's some sort of a virus miracle. I don't know. But we understand, we miss you all so very much. And our teachers are beyond sad that they don't get to see you every day. But you do get to check in with them. Look for Google Meets and Google Zoom meetings. They're happy to do that with you. I think I'm done.
Other questions?
Oh, 8th grade graduation updates, somebody just asked. No, I'm sorry. We just don't know until we know. We're trying not to formalize anything or make plans. I'm gonna say this to the 8th graders because I've had quite a few conversations with the 8th graders. They have reached out and they have a lot of concerns because this is such a special time. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know where we're gonna be at on May 1st. A lot of decisions will be made. But something wonderful and special will happen for you related to graduation and related to all of those activities that we normally do. I can guarantee you it will be wonderful and special, but I can't tell you what it will look like or when it will be at this moment. I do want you to know that we are really, trust me, we're really thinking about it and processing. And I get ideas all day long from the teachers. The 8th grade teachers are, they're really brokenhearted too, because at this point we are in that major planning part of the year. So trust me, we haven't forgotten about it. We are thinking about it. It won't look the same maybe, and maybe it will, but there will be something. Okay, so if a student doesn't show up in one of their classes like PE, in Moby Max, they need to log into Google Classroom for attendance. So Moby Max is mostly reading and math unless we've told you differently, and once they've checked into Moby Max, they've checked into Moby Max, and we can see that. PE and the other classes we really want you to check into because they are graded classes, and it's important that we keep the kids into that habit. So we would like them to check in daily to those classes. If you don't have band, obviously you don't have to check into Mr. Younger's. Or art, if you don't have art, you don't have to check into Mrs. Clary, although she has some pretty cool stuff going on in her classroom if you wanted to check it out. But PE and technology, the kids should be checking into those, and on Schoology for Mr. Slater's classes. I don't know, I hope that answered your question.
Because it was about attendance.
Mm-hmm.
For attendance at Blackstone, students only need to log into their kindergarten or first grade teacher's class for attendance. You don't have to log into PE, STEAM, Media Center, in all of those other areas for attendance, just the K1 classroom teacher for attendance. But again, as we've said, we encourage you to visit all of their areas as well because they have great ideas out there for kids to have fun.
Right.
And that goes along with Lincoln. Log in with your classroom teacher, but check into those other classes as well.
Yeah, they're working just as hard as everybody, and they're putting a lot of great things out there for so that the kids have activity, especially those PE people. Let's look to them for that physical movement for the kids. Mm-hmm. And Mr. Slater said he has moved all of his work to a Google Classroom so that he's consistent with the school, so you don't even have to have that second log on now. Once you're in your email, you can go to your classroom. Yep.
Okay, and I had just another reminder, another place for you to look. As soon as this closure began, our district worked hard to put our e-learning plan together, and we submitted that to the ROE, and that was approved. And so we began working on things right away, and I'm super proud of our staff for jumping in to do that. You know, for anybody out there that thinks, you know, that this situation is easy, it is by no means an easy situation. Our teachers have really risen to the challenge of this online learning. They've had to learn things really fast, and we're super proud of them. And I want to echo what was said as well. Our teachers tell us daily how much they miss the students. So please, please, please check in with them. But again, in a follow-up, our e-learning plan was approved. When the closure became extended, we were also required to then put together a remote learning plan as well as a transition plan. That transition plan could look very different depending on when we come back. And I want to reiterate, we just don't know. We're certainly sitting here every day monitoring every piece of information that comes in to try and plan for the future. Right now, our closure goes through April 30th, and we are to return May 1st. We are not certain whether we are going to return then or we're not. Again, we're waiting for that guidance. But what we want to do as a district is make sure that the education that we're providing to everyone is as seamless as it possibly can. We know there's a huge learning curve. It's on our end as well. So please reach out as you have been via email, and we will get back to you and try our very best to answer and troubleshoot all of those problems. Right now on our website is our e-learning plan with an addendum to that covers our remote learning and our transition plan. And it's just an outline of what it looks like for our district right now. And should things change, we will certainly amend that. But it's kind of an overview if you want to go and look at that. All the information that was shared here today, I know is overwhelming. We know it's overwhelming. And so we want to ask you to please make sure that you check back and perhaps listen to this Facebook Live again, because there's a lot of really super important and good information that was out here relative to the amount of time that kids should be spending, how exactly to get in, and what exactly the expectations are. And I want to tell you, I know you probably know this, but your administrative team is also working super, super hard 24/7 to make sure that we get the most timely information into your hands. I want to remind you once again of the things that I mentioned when we started out relative to lunch pickup. If you have called in but you fail to pick up lunches 2 days in a row, we are going to take you off that because we've been making a lot of extra lunches and no one comes to pick them up. So we want to be fair to everyone. So if 2 days in a row they're not picked up, we take you off that list, and you will need to call in and get yourself back on if that's what you so desire. Beyond that, we are going to make a change starting next week with lunch delivery, and that is that we're going to continue at the satellite locations just as we have been Monday through Thursday. Thursday, however, will be a double lunch and breakfast. We will have Fridays included in that, and we will no longer be going out on Fridays. Want to give a shout out to Mendota High School, bus drivers as well, and their volunteers, because everybody's been working so hard to get that together along with our food service too. One last reminder relative to the actual teaching days. Next week on Friday is Good Friday, and that is a holiday for us. So there is no teaching and attendance and so forth on Friday the 10th. What we're going to do in the weeks that follow, we're going to have direct teacher instruction as best we can for Monday through Thursday, and Fridays are used for remote learning planning for our teachers, and for students it will be time to make up work, and do any enrichment activities or anything you might have that would be fun activities for your child. So that's what we're looking at in the weeks to come.
We miss you.
Yeah, we miss you very much. We're here to help and support you. Just let us know if you need something. Again, the main thing is just keeping your family well and healthy, and that's the most important thing right now, spending time together.
Absolutely.
See you later.
All right, bye. Have a good day. Have a good weekend.
Take care.